We can get started, Parthi.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Hello. Okay. So today we are going to have a webinar on e-invoicing. So the main agenda of this webinar is to discuss the legal provisions. First, we'll discuss the basics of e-invoice. Then we'll be moving on to the legal provisions. We'll let you know the process of creation of account with NIC, how to integrate your Excel or APIs with GST Zen and other solutions that GST Zen offers for e-invoicing. And we'll also be taking up the FAQs at the end of the session. So we uh, have with us CA Venugopal Genna. He is an expert on GST and has contributed lots of inputs in drafting of various forms and rules. He played a major role in designing the e-invoice specification. I also have my colleague Manisha with me, who would be showing a demo of the software later on. Before moving on to e-invoicing, allow me to tell you a little bit about GST Zen. GST Zen got started in 2017, mainly as a compliance software, and since then we have also delved into e-invoicing. Besides e-invoicing, we provide various facilities such as return filing. uh, Taxpayer can file their GSTR 1, 3B, 9, and 9C using GST Zen. We provide various reconciliation reports wherein a person can compare their books with GSTR 2A, 2B, or their sales register with GSTR 1. We also provide various consolidated reports and PAN level reports, which help a taxpayer to be GST compliant. There are other tools that we provide, such as Autopilot, wherein a person can perform a single function for multiple GST numbers at a time. We provide JSON to Excel GSN and HSN validator, and offset facility. Taking a look at our numbers, we have more than 30,000 users. Lakhs of reports have been downloaded through GST Zen. Millions of invoices are processed daily, and we have more than 20 crore invoices in our database. Okay, now moving on to the actual topic, e-invoicing. So why has government taken the initiative to start e-invoicing? E-invoicing has helped India's ranking to move up in the ease of doing business from 77 to 63 in 2022. It has also been observed that by implementing e-invoicing, there has been a 96% saving in cost, 80% saving in time, and it has made the process 15 times more efficient. It helps in better compliance by taxpayers and simplifies audits as well. So, what is e-invoicing or electronic invoicing? So there is no prior standard under GST or any other statute for e-invoicing. So e-invoicing has been introduced to enable interoperability across various players. So when we talk about various ERPs that are there in the market, so if you are generating a sales invoice, let's say you provide a soft copy to your customer, he would not be able to take that soft copy to enter it in his ERP directly. He would have to manually input the details. So by introducing e-invoicing, everybody is submitting these details in a single format to the GST portal, where it auto-populates in GSTR 2A or 2B of the respective customer as well. Interoperability between software eliminates the need for data entry, because since everybody is providing in the same manner, it gets populated to GSTR1, and from there to the respective GSTR 2A and 2B of the customer. So it also helps other players such as banks, wholesale retail chain, and it also provides a validity to the invoice by giving it a specific number, that is the IRN. We'll discuss it in more detail later on. So let's start by an example how e-invoicing is helping in interoperability. Let's say you are in India. So when you are in India, you would be using, let's say you want to charge your laptop, your adapter would fit type D. Now if you move to Singapore, your adapter will fit type A, even though you have the same electricity that you want to charge this your laptop, but the mode of getting it, the adapter will not fit, the same adapter will not fit in Singapore as it does in India. So that is where the government has planned to eliminate this thing so that everybody is able to provide it in the same format. Let's look at the progress of e-invoice in India. So the first batch went live on 1st October 2020, where the aggregate turnover of businesses above 500 crore were enabled for e-invoicing. After that came 100 crore, then 50, then 20, and the most recent bracket has been the 10 crore, which went live from 1st October 2022. It was speculated that for 5 crore it would start from 1st of Jan, but it did not. Now it is people are speculating and expecting that it would start from 1st of April for 5 crore and above. So the notification has not come out yet, and many people who were not enabled last year for 10 crore and above may also get started from 1st of April. So you should not leave your e-invoicing to start at the end of the moment. You should start preparing beforehand so that you do not have any issues when you want to go live. So who is required to issue e-invoices? As per the various notifications, the government has enabled different brackets of businesses where the aggregate turnover, it has given a bracket through various notifications. So the most recent one, as I talked about, was 10 crore and above, which was enabled through Central Tax Notification 17 bar 2022 from 1st of October 2022. Let's look at some of the relevant notifications and rules. So it was e-invoicing was enabled through CGST notification 68 bar 2019. Now, Rule 48 of CGST rules provides the manner of issuing invoice. Rule 48 sub rule 4 gives form GST INV1. It essentially provides what should be in the invoice when you are issuing the e-invoice for it to be a valid e-invoice. Rule 48 sub rule 5 states that any invoice which does not follow form GST INV1 is not a valid invoice. And sub rule 6 states that multiple copies of invoice are not required when you are generating an e-invoice. CGST notification 69 bar 2019 notified the common portal, which is e-invoice1.gst.gov.in. The government has now notified new portals as well, as many of you might be aware of it. And CGST notification 60 bar 2020 specifies the schema, that is the fields that should be there, the fields which are mandatory or fields which are optional are specified in CGST notification 60 bar 2020. So let's look at the people who are exempted from e-invoicing. So a special economic zone unit, an SEZ unit, is exempted from e-invoicing. So they do not have to generate e-invoices for their sales invoices. A government department is also exempted, a local authority, and the persons covered by CGST Rule 54, that is, insurer or a banking company or a financial institution, including NBFC goods, a transport agency, passenger transportation service, and admission to exhibition of cinematograph films in multiplex screen. This was updated as per notification 61 bar 2020 central tax notification. Now this is very important. So please pay attention here which transactions are covered by e-invoicing rule. It is only applicable for B2B transactions as per notification 70 bar 2019. So when you are issuing a document, the invoices, credit notes, and debit notes in relation to a B2B transaction are eligible for e-invoicing. So you can see the document type, invoices, credit note, debit note, and the type of transaction, a business to business, business to government, or exports of goods and services. The documents and type of transactions highlighted in green on this slide are eligible for e-invoicing. So if a supplier has sold goods to a registered buyer and he's eligible for e-invoicing, he has to generate an e-invoice and give it to the customer for it to be a valid invoice. Same in the relation of a credit note and debit note given to a registered buyer. So it is not applicable to a bill of supply, delivery challan, and ISD invoice. So bill of supply is issued essentially when you are supplying exempt goods. So e-invoicing is not applicable for a bill of supply, delivery challan, ISD invoice. So let's look at the type of transactions where it is not applicable. So we had spoken that it is applicable for B2B. So now it is not when you're selling to a customer, that is not the buyer is not registered under GST, and it is a sale within India, that is a B2C sale. E-invoicing is not applicable on that transaction. Purchase from URD and import of goods or services. So e-invoicing is not applicable for bill of supply, delivery challan, ISD invoice, and the type of transaction for which it is not applicable is B2C, purchase from URD, and import of goods and services. To sum it up, e-invoicing is applicable for a B2B transaction where the supply of taxable goods has been made, be it within India or export of goods and services. Moving on, now let's look at the registration process. So the government has provided a testing environment for uh, taxpayers whose turnover is above 100 crore in a financial year. So they have provided a website called E-Invoice API Sandbox. A taxpayer can register there to test their data for generating e-invoice. Anything generated here is not a valid e-invoice. So you can test with your dummy data here to get to know what could be the errors that you get, how to resolve them, what problems you might face. So it is essentially to acquaint yourself with the process of e-invoicing. And when you move live, you have to get yourself registered on einvoice1.gst.gov.in, through which you generate the actual e-invoices which get auto-populated in your GSTR1. So let's look at some other information. So list of people generating e-invoices. The government has provided a list where you can, it's actually a forum where you can check whether that GST number is applicable for e-invoicing. If a particular taxpayer is eligible for e-invoicing and he's not giving you an e-invoice, his tax invoice is not valid. So you can check there and demand that you should get an e-invoice because that GST number is eligible for e-invoicing. You can also check your own status of e-invoice enablement, whether your GST number has been enabled by the government portal to generate e-invoices. And to ensure compliance, you have to start generating e-invoices when your GST is enabled. The portal also provides an offline utility which you can use to generate e-invoices. Then you have uh, an app to read the QR code on the e-invoice so that you can verify that this is correct and a valid e-invoice, as well as you can use the JSON to verify it. So how does an e-invoice get generated? So the seller uploads the e-invoice in a format, that is the JSON format, to the e-invoice portal. It has various registrars where they have various functions. One would verify the JSON, validate the data, check against duplication. When all of it is validated, then the e-invoice is generated. The person who's sending the information gets the response in the form of the signed acknowledgement JSON, the QR code, that is the PDF with the QR code, and then it is sent to the GST system. If you are generating e-waybill together with your e-invoice, it is posted to the e-waybill portal as well. Then it is auto-populated in GSTR1. From there, it goes to GSTR 2A and 2B of the particular customer. So again here, a supplier who's generating an e-invoice would send it to the e-invoice portal. The various registrars would validate the data and check against duplication, because IRN is a unique number which is given to one invoice. So you cannot generate multiple IRNs against the same invoice number. When the e-invoice is generated, it is sent to various other users, that is auto-populated in GSTR1. From there, as I said, to 2A and 2B of the customer. Let's look at some of the terms and definitions. So I have kept mentioning IRN. So what is IRN? IRN is invoice reference number. It is a combination of the taxpayer GST number, financial year, document type, and invoice number. So the combination of these four things generates a unique IRN. So for the same combination, you would not be able to generate another IRN. It is a 64-digit alphanumeric number which is not readable. So for example, if you are providing a GST number, financial year, a document type and document number, this is the IRN that the portal has generated. So if you try to generate with the same details again, it will give you an error of duplicate IRN. Even if you have provided different details such as your HSN code might be different or your buyer might be different, but as long as these four details remain the same, it will not allow you to generate IRN for the same details, same combination of details. Invoice registration portal, that is the IRP. So IRP is essentially where a taxpayer sends his e-invoice JSON for validation and generation of e-invoice. So IRP through various registrars, it validates and then generates the e-invoice. If e-waybill is generated, it is posted to the e-waybill portal and to the GST common portal, that is auto-populated in GSTR1, and the digitally signed invoice and QR code is given to the taxpayer. So it is authorized by the government. It is run by NIC. It verifies and acknowledges e-invoices. It replies within the blink of an eye and retains invoices only for 24 hours. Beyond that, you would not be able to fetch the invoice. So let's say after, if you generate an e-invoice today and you're checking a week later, you would not be able to get the information as it does not store the information beyond 24 hours. This is the sample response from IRP. So once you have sent an invoice, a JSON, so this is the response when you get when you successfully generate an e-invoice. It will give you an acknowledgement date, as in at what time was the e-invoice generated. Then you have acknowledgement number, IRN, signed invoice, signed QR code, the status, whether it's active or cancelled. If e-way bill is generated, the e-way bill details for the invoice. This is what a PDF looks like, which is generated by the government portal. You can scan this QR code and verify the e-invoice. So when you scan this QR code, it will show that this is digitally signed by NIC. It contains high-level parameters of an invoice. It would not give you the complete information, but the high-level parameters of an invoice can be used to know the authenticity of an e-invoice. So this is a sample response. When you scan the QR code, you would get the buyer GST number, the document date, number, whether it's an invoice, credit note, debit note, IRN, the total item count, main HSN code, seller GST number, and total item value of the invoice. So you would not get all the information, but the high level information. Let's look at how GST then provides integration so that you are able to generate e-invoice. Let's say you have a Tally ERP or SAP. GST then provides API or our own custom TDL. So using that, you can directly send the e-invoice to the IRP. So what it takes is, when you click the button in your ERP, it takes the information, validates that JSON. Once it is validated, it is sent to the IRP portal. From there, it gets the QR code IRN and stores it back to your database, that is your ERP. Let's look at some of the frequently asked questions. So we'll be covering books versus change in IRP portal, change in IRP portal to a change in GSTR1 and e-way. So at what time is the e-invoice required for a particular transaction? If you are selling goods, so you have to generate an e-invoice before movement of the goods. It is similar to an e-way bill in this case. So you also generate e-way bill when you're moving goods. So you have to generate e-invoice as well before you move the goods. If it is an across the counter sale, the e-invoice has to be generated before completing the sale, and for services, before issuing the invoice to the customer, e-invoice has to be generated. So now that e-invoice has been introduced, how do e-way bills work? So e-way bills are governed by Rule 138 of CGST rules. E-way bill can be generated simultaneously with e-invoice, or it can be generated at a later point of time. Let's say I've generated an e-invoice today, but I do not plan to move the goods until next week. So as and when I am planning to, as and when I move the goods, I can generate the e-way bill just before that. There is no requirement that you have to generate e-way bill as and when you generate the e-invoice. So IRP supports e-way bill only for an invoice. So if you are generating e-way bill against an e-invoice, it will only work for an invoice. It will not, you will not be able to generate an e-way bill using the IRN against a credit note or a debit note. So if you want to cancel an e-invoice and you have generated an e-way bill as well, first the e-way bill will have to be cancelled before you can cancel the e-invoice. How to print the e-invoice? So you can print it with the IRN in QR code. QR code in a digital display is sufficient during transport. There is no need for you to have a hard copy of the invoice. You can carry a digital copy, a soft copy of the invoice, and that would be sufficient for transport. How to send the e-invoice to the recipient? IRP will not send it for you. You have to send it by yourself. You should email the acknowledgement JSON along with the PDF so that the recipient can verify the authenticity of your e-invoice. What details of the e-invoice should we save in our ERP? You should save the acknowledgement number, date, and you should save the QR code digitally signed by the IRP. Until what time can I register an e-invoice? Ideally, you should generate the e-invoice before issuing it to the customer, but it is recommended that within you should generate it within 48 hours of issuing the invoice so that you are in compliance of section 31. The e-invoice portal allows you to generate e-invoice for a backdated invoice. There is no bar as on date. Even today, you'll be able to generate an e-invoice for an invoice dated October 22. So as of now, there is no bar on how backdated you can generate the e-invoice. You would not get an error. Even if you were eligible from 2020, you would still be able to generate a backdated e-invoice for 2020. Can e-invoice be cancelled? Yes, this again is very crucial. You can cancel an e-invoice within 24 hours of generation. So this is not talking about the date of the invoice. Rather, it is talking about the date and time of generation of e-invoice. So let's say an invoice is dated 1st of March, but I'm generating the e-invoice today, right at this moment. So I'll be eligible to, it will be eligible for cancellation until for 24 hours tomorrow. So right now it's 3:30. So if I generate an e-invoice right now, I can cancel it before 3:30 tomorrow. Can an e-invoice be modified? No, you cannot even change an iota of information once you have generated the e-invoice. So sometimes what happens is people see that, by mistake they might have given the wrong customer or the wrong description. Maybe the quantity is wrong. But now you cannot change it. Once e-invoice is generated, nothing can be done. The only option is for you is to cancel the e-invoice and create a fresh invoice. But then again, you will not be able to use the same invoice number. As I'd mentioned before, as long as those four combinations, you use them again, it will give you an error, duplicate IRN. So you cannot use the same invoice number again within the same financial year. What if I have generated an invoice by mistake and it is not cancelled within 24 hours? Sometimes you come across your mistake, let's say after a week or 2 weeks. So here what you can do is you can cancel it in your books and not report it in your GST return. You can also do issue a credit note in that regard, but you can also cancel it in your books and make sure to remove it from your GSTR1. Do not file it in your GSTR1. Let's look at some of the common errors and how to avoid them. Invalid HSN code. You can use GST Zen's validator to validate your HSN whether you're using the correct HSN code. PIN code does not match the state. E-invoice portal maintains a directory of all the PIN codes that belong to a state. There you can check if that PIN code exists for that state. Recipient GST is cancelled. That the status of GST number you can check using GST Zen validator, or you can also go to the government portal directly and check it. inconsistent amounts. I would recommend that you use a software in that case so that you avoid these human errors, these calculation errors. And you should also keep in mind that you are giving the correct supply type. Let's say if you're supplying to an SEZ, you should not mark it as a B2B. You should mark it as an SEZ supply, not a regular B2B supply. This will cause problems when you're filing GSTR1. The GST portal will throw an error that this GST number is actually an SEZ. You cannot show them as part of regular B2B supply. E-invoice technical aspects. So preparing your e-invoice as per schema and communication with IRP, sending the e-invoice to customers. And so as I'd mentioned before, GST Zen helps you in integration of your ERP using APIs. So these, when you integrate your ERP with GST Zen, so here the JSON comes to GST Zen where it is validated. After it is validated, it is sent to the government portal. From there, we get the IRN, digital signature, and QR code and provide that response back to your ERP or in your API call response. GST Zen also provides an option of emailing the PDF to the recipient. If you're providing the email ID in this JSON, it will automatically be emailed to the concerned person. So, e-invoice schema. So, the government has provided a specific schema that has to be used to send the data to the government portal. Otherwise, the data will not be accepted. So it has provided various sections. You have header details, transaction level, document level, and other details. Many are mandatory, and there are optional details as well. So if you look at this image, it is showing you all the mandatory details that need to be there in the e-invoice JSON. You have to provide the document details such as the invoice number, date, whether it's an invoice, debit note, credit note. The seller details have to be there, the buyer details, line item, as well as the amount details. That is the total of the invoice, total taxes. Are there any other charges? So all of these are mandatory information that are to be sent in the e-invoice JSON. Now here, if you look, there are some optional details, like you can provide the reference details, PO number, PO date, any payment terms that you want to provide, and then dispatching address, export details. These are essential in case of exports and if you are delivering from a different address or delivering to a different address, that is your ship to and dispatch from address. If it is different from your bill to and bill from address, those details will also have to be provided. So these are the number of fields in the schema. You have mandatory and optional sections that can repeat. So you have line item details. These are showing the mandatory as well as optional sections. Now GST Zen offering. There are various methods by which you can integrate which you can use for e-invoicing. So we provide an Excel connector. You have secured folder and then you have drag and drop. Secured folder is essentially from your database. You'd be sending a file to our server. From there, it will be taken and put the e-invoice would be generated and the response would be stored back in that secured folder. In drag and drop, you enter the details in the Excel and upload it manually to GST Zen. We provide ODBC and direct database access. We have custom solutions for Tally and SAP, and we provide GST Zen APIs for developers to integrate their own ERP to IRP. Now my colleague Manisha will be showing you a demo of the software and going into the detail of various solutions that we offer.
Okay. Uh, Thank you, Bharti. Let me first share my screen. Is my screen visible, Bharti?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Manisha, and I will be demonstrating how e-invoicing can be generated through GST Zen. We have different methods of integration, uh, namely API, Excel, database, Tally, SAP. We also support e-invoicing by our own billing software. Today, I will be showing a demo of GST Zen Excel method of integration, API integration, and the billing software. First of all, I will start with the Excel integration. Currently in front of you, this is GST Zen dashboard. When you create an account with us, this will be the first screen you will be getting, wherein we are showing all the GST numbers. And to add further, you will be using this tab to add the GST number. Today, I will be using this ones that are GST number to show you the demonstration. So once I click on this GST number, I will be landing up on this descriptive page of this GST number where we have an option like download a report, reconcile books versus government portal, file GST return. On the right hand side of your screen, we have an option as e-invoicing. In order to e-invoice, we will click on the button. So today I will be showing you a demonstration for this GST Zen Excel full. So once I click on this, here we will be getting this template. So I'll be downloading this template and show you what all is there in this template. This is GST Zen Excel full template. So this is a template which looks very similar to what government is providing as an offline utility. So here we have bifurcated our columns as per color coded as per the government schema. So so all these yellow highlighted columns talks about the details wherein you will be providing about the doc details. All these blue highlighted columns talk about the seller's detail. Next we have is this purple color coded columns that wherein you will be providing the recipient detail. This pink coded talks about this ship to details. And next we have is this dispatch from details. These are the two types of columns which are not mandatory, which are mandatory, but you can just skip it if you have the same ship to details and the bill to details. Then you will be providing in this green coded columns, you will be providing the item level details. Let me quickly talk about the other two sheets which we have in our this Excel. The first sheet is the about sheet. This is a reference sheet wherein you will be getting the details of all the columns, whether they are mandatory or the optional. This third sheet is again your is a reference sheet which you can refer for the state code, for UQC name, for the transaction type, for the doc type. So uh, for this sheet, I have maintained like created another sheet wherein I have already maintained the data for your reference, and also to show you that how we can generate the invoices using this Excel. So here for this one of the document number, I have provided a document number for which invoice is already generated to show you that how GST Zen handles uh, an invoice which is already created. So I will be uploading the same into GST Zen. You can also drag and drop the Excel sheet. And I will click on upload your Excel. Once I click on this upload your Excel, here we have the 3 tabs. First is the summary, wherein you will be getting the details of the number of document you have uploaded, what is the taxable value, what are the tax range, and what is the date range. The second tab is the error, wherein it will show you, like as I mentioned, I provided one of the invoice number for which invoice is already generated. So it will throw you an error like this, that e-invoice already generated for this particular document number. The third tab is the tab wherein you will be getting all the details for whatsoever you have, for whatsoever invoices you have uploaded. Also, you can click on this PDF tab to take a look at how your data will be there in the PDF before generation. Just okay, so this will be the PDF before generation of an e-invoice, wherein it will give you all the details, whatever you have provided in the Excel, the seller's detail, the buyer's detail, details of invoice. For ship to details and for dispatch from details, it is giving as the same as the billing address. Now moving back to the previous screen, here we are provided with a tab, uploading e-invoices. Once I click on this, all these yellow circles will turn into this green tick. So let me give the command as yes, upload invoice. As soon as I give the command, with a fraction of seconds, these invoices will get generated. When I click on the invoice number, I will be on the descriptive page of this invoice, where it will give me the details for this 64 characters IRN number, acknowledgement date, acknowledgement number. Also, I can check the PDF for this generated invoice by clicking on the PDF tab. Here in the PDF, it will give me the IRN number, acknowledgement date, and the QR code, which state that this invoice is generated. Moving on to the previous sheet, if you want to generate an e-way bill for this invoice, you can use this tab. Once I click on this tab, it will take me to the screen wherein it will ask me to provide the distance, which you can provide it as 0. It will auto calculate. I will be providing the vehicle number. And providing the mode as road and generate the e-way bill. Once I click on this generate e-way bill, it will give me the e-way bill number, it will give me the date, and it will give me the valid until. It will also update in the PDF as well. So it will show me the e-way bill details here in the PDF as well. Also, I can check this acknowledgement JSON on the government provided utility. That is this verified signed acknowledgement JSON. I will be uploading the JSON, acknowledgement JSON, which I have downloaded from GST Zen, to check whether this is the IRN number is correct or not. Okay, somehow it's not working.
It's a signature error because you have done on the sandbox, so that's okay.
Okay, sir. Okay, thank you, sir. So also, if we want to cancel this e-invoice generated through an Excel, we can use this tab to cancel it. As soon as I click on this, it will ask me for the permission, and as I click on yes, it will cancel the e-invoice, and it will simultaneously be updated into GST Zen, and it will give you as e-invoice cancelled. So this is how this is the first method how you can generate the e-invoice through GST Zen by this Excel integration. Moving on to the next method, that is this API integration. I will be using this online platform named Hopscotch. wherein GST-Zen we are provided with 4 endpoints, that is the generation of an e-invoice, cancellation of an e-invoice, generation of an e-way bill, and cancellation of an e-way bill. Also, I will be using the first endpoint, that is for the generation of an e-way bill, and posting it under the post. In the header, I have provided this authentication key, which I have taken from my GST-Zen account. In the body, I have provided the JSON as per the government schema, wherein I have provided the transaction detail, document detail, seller's detail, buyer's detail, dispatch from detail, ship to detail, item level. Here I have provided just one single line item. You can have multiple line items. Then I have provided the val details, that is the invoice level detail. Simultaneously with this invoice, I am also generating an e-way bill, and I will be posting this request. As soon as I click on the send button, I will get the response. Okay, for this invoice, because here I have provided one of the invoice number, which is for which invoice is already generated. So it give me an response that IRN already generated. Let me change the invoice number and generate it again. Okay, so here I got a response that IRN number is generated. This is the pin to pin calculated distance. This is IRN number, 64 character IRN number, number, acknowledgement date. Also in response, I will get the e-way bill details as well. You will be having the signed QR code, acknowledgement JSON, acknowledgement response, also the signed invoice. In the response itself, you will be getting, which you can by providing, by copy pasting .in. So whatever invoices you will be creating using our API, it will simultaneously be updating into GST-Zen as well. Let me show you where it is in the GST-Zen. So here in the GST-Zen, we are provided with the sales register, wherein it will show me all the invoices, whatever we have generated using the using our APIs. Here we have this searching options to minimize your searching. You can search as per a particular invoice number, search as per recipient. If you want to search the invoices belonging to a particular date range, you can use this option. Here I have generated an invoice, webinar 91. So I'll be just simply searching that out. So as soon as I click on this invoice number, document number, I will be on the descriptive page where again all the details are there, whatever I got in the response. Also from GST-Zen, you can download the PDF up to like bulk PDF by using this tab. By using this tab, you can download the bulk PDF. So this is about our second method, that is the API integration. Moving on to the next method, that is using our billing software. For the same, you will be in the sales register and using this tab to create invoices. Once you click on this, you will be landing up on this page wherein you will be manually putting all the details for the generation. It will automatically fetch the document number, the next document number. You will be providing the date. This is auto set as invoice. If you want to change it, you can click on the drop down and choose. It is BT, many more options by clicking on the drop down. By default, it is set as reverse charge as no and IGST on intra as no. You can change it again by clicking on the drop down. Here for next we have is the supplier and recipient details. For the sellers, it is automatically coming as you have already created the customer supplier master. For this recipient, I will be searching out I will be searching out one of the recipient for which I have already created the customer supplier master. As soon as I click on that particular customer, it will automatically fetch all the mandatory columns. We can also have the ship to details and dispatch from details if we have any separate ship to or dispatch from details. Next we have is this line item. So here I have already created this product master in the GST Zen. I will be choosing one of the product from this. So it will automatically take the HSN code, the description, the unit price, and all the other details. It will auto calculate the item value as well. So if I want to increase the line items, I can simply click on add item and provide the other line item. If I want to delete this line item, I can simply click on this discard tab. Next we have is this TCS charges. So if you want to provide this TCS charges, you can provide it here. If you have any reference detail, you can provide those customer purchase order or customer purchase order date here. Apart from that, if you want to provide any additional information or additional detail, you can use this note tab or the payment details here. Here we have also provided the discount, other charges, whether round off is applicable. Let's suppose if I have another charges of ₹100, so it will automatically add here. And let's suppose if I have a value as, we can use this round off tab as well. Once I click on the save invoice, I'll get an option to review my invoice. When I click on this review, this invoice is not yet generated, but it will show me all the details with whatever I have provided in the previous screen. As soon as I click on this, click to generate e-invoice, this invoice will generate. And again, I will be getting all that information as IRN number, acknowledgement date, acknowledgement number. To cancel this invoice, I can use this tab to cancel an invoice. So this is how we generate the e-invoices by various methods through GST Zen. If anybody has any questions, free to ask. Thank you.
Any questions to the participants? So
good afternoon. Good afternoon. I am Sriram from Chennai.
Yeah, yes, sir.
If some supplier is crossing 10 crores middle of the year, what will happen?
It will be applicable from the next financial year, because the condition is if your turnover in the preceding financial is any of the preceding financial year is exceeding 10 crores, then the e-invoice is applicable. So assuming in Jan 23 10 crores is crossed, so from 1st April 23 you will be generating the e-invoice.
One more question.
Yes.
We will be sending an invoice to the we are a service exporter. Let me just explain. A service exporter. We will be sending a forex value invoice to the client.
Commercial invoice, correct.
Customers. But here, if I raise an e-invoice, what will happen? It will be in INR.
Correct.
How to do that?
Yeah, so currently today, how are you reporting in GST around? You will still have to report in INR value.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, so the same value is what your e-invoice is.
But e-invoice is instant, no? Every day, whenever I raise the invoice, it should be e-invoice.
Absolutely.
Is it possible that I can take 2 days and I generate together all the invoice?
Theoretically, yes. The system doesn't do anything. You will be able to do it.
Okay, just because the forex value is available only after 48 hours. In generally, RBI provides after 48 hours only. Which
You
is
can do at that point. Absolutely, you can do it at that point. The only thing is when the material and the good, in your case, the goods are not going, so you have no issue. So you can generate it. Absolutely not an issue.
Okay, ours is no tax invoice.
Meaning? You are supplying under LUT.
Yeah, LUT.
Yeah, that's fine. So the e-invoice has this option to generate an e-invoice under LUT. you will be able to do it.
These things are available in your software?
Yes, very much, very much.
Okay. At any given point, sometimes the client asking for an invoice, something like that, when I send them a reminder for payment, something like that, together, after 3 months, they may even pay for all 3 months. They may again ask for the invoice. I can send my invoice than the E-invoice, correct?
Correct.
As far as the client correspondence is concerned, I can send my invoice. I need
Commercial
not
invoice.
Commercial invoice.
Permitted, yes.
Permitted. Okay. Is there any possibility that I can incorporate logo in your format?
Yes. You can. The format which you are seeing is customizable.
Yeah.
So depending on the effort in customization, there's an additional charge. But otherwise, the standard application provides you all types of industries use our billing software.
Okay. I can call you after. You will be sending the recorded.
We'll be sending the recorded version, and we'll also share you the R coordinates, so you can always get in touch with us, and we will assist you.
Definitely. I'll call you more just because many of them asked to raise many questions. No.
Yeah, no problem. Yes.
I'm muting myself. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Venugopal. Bye.
Yeah. Next participant. I think Ankit or someone was trying to unmute. Yeah, anyone, you can unmute yourself and ask the question. We are available. Don't worry about the time. Yes, Deepak sir. Deepak, you are not audible. Deepak, you have a question?
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes, Chirag. Please go ahead.
Sir, I have entered same invoice number, but duplicate entry. So how to cancel one single invoice, sir?
You have entered same invoice number, duplicate entry. What does this mean? Portal will not allow you to send the same invoice number twice to the portal. Portal will not permit that.
So how to cancel, sir?
Sir, only when you generate the concept of cancellation would come up. Since you have not generated, there is no concept of cancellation.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, okay. Yes, thank you. Yes, Deepak sir, you can unmute yourself and ask. You raised the hand. Maybe I think some issue with your mic. We are unable to hear. Let's go to the next.
Hello.
Yes, Ankit ji.
Our registration is late. Then I raised the invoicing backdated.
Chalega. System will permit you. You can raise the backdated, and it will not even harm any of the GST or ones which you have already filed. Kuch issue nahi hoga. But I would suggest you comply with the law and generate an invoice.
अक्टूबर टू नवंबर मंथ के इनवॉइस थे और वो मार्च में हम रेज कर सकते हैं बैकडेटेड
कर सकते परमिटेड पोर्टल विल परमिट यू टू जनरेट सो दैट यू कैन
नहीं आएगी वन में कोई इंपैक्ट नहीं आएगा ना
कुछ नहीं आएगा
ओके थैंक यू वेरी मच सर
यस Santhanam sir, you have asked this question, how to create a works contract invoice. Sir, you are raising in a works contract, say HSN 9954. You will in a normal way, how you will raise an invoice, you will be raising the same, and portal will accept. E-invoice and e-way will people just get confused. You will still have to raise an e-invoice if the value of the supply is even 1 rupee or 10 rupees or 1 crore, and whether it is goods or service, you will have to raise. As long as there is a tax liability and to a registered person, e-invoice is applicable. Hope that is clear. And Deepak has a question: if e-invoice is generated and want to change the quantity items name only, can we change in our accounting software and file GSTR1 with referring to the same data, or we must cancel the e-invoice and generate? Yeah, as long as there is no change in the supplier, the buyer name and the HSN and the rate of tax and the value, you doesn't need to cancel your e-invoice. You can continue your alteration in your accounting software. because there is no change in the GSTR1 data. Hope this answers your question, Deepak. Any other question to any other participants? Bharti, can you share our coordinates?
Sir, Aditya has a question, sir.
Yes, Aditya.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, e-invoice and e-way is not required for exempted goods for intrastate and interstate. Your understanding is right. Both e-way bill and e-invoice is not required for exempted supply. It's just that if it is a job work, then the e-way bill is required in the interstate movement. Otherwise, it is not required. Irrespective of the value, more than 1 lakh. Yes, for exempted transactions, both e-invoice and e-way bill is not applicable. Yeah, so here are coordinates. You can always reach to us. You can write to us support@gstzen.in is our the email ID. Please save this number 7406441122. This is our WhatsApp number. You can always ping to us. Our support team will be in assistance with you. You can also subscribe to our WhatsApp channel. I think the Utkarsh will share with you our WhatsApp channel. You can subscribe to get the latest updates about the GST. And yes, the copy of this presentation material and the copy of this session recording, you will get an email. Any other question that participants have? So I think we can end this session. I should thank Bharti for putting up the excellent presentation. And thank you, Manisha, for your demo. And thank you, Utkarsh, for coordinating the entire session. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, participants. And feel free to reach to us if in case you have any question. One other important announcement, those who are using an accounting software like ERP, like Tally, or you have in-house software, we also have a feature where if you have an e-invoice and there is a QR code, you just scan your QR code, automatically the data gets posted into your ERP application. Hopefully in the next session, very soon we will show a demo of that. So in case if you have any inquiry, you can always reach to our support numbers. Yeah. Thank you all and good day. Yes, so Utkarsh has shared the our WhatsApp community. You can click on that link and join to our WhatsApp community for any GST related updates. Thank you.